Cool. So we are recording. I'm going to record all of these sessions actually. So if you do happen to miss a class, you'll always be able to jump back in and find links here. In fact, in this main announcement right here, I will start links to every single one of our classes. This is sort of an odd thing to say, but this is also a type of class that you can actually get away without necessarily having to take many notes, because we're going to be recording these. So be able to go back and watch these things as many times as you need to. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're a big fan of taking notes, take notes. But by all means, it's one of the rare classes that's all being recorded. You don't necessarily have to like feverishly take down notes and you know, as I'm speaking, because you can go back, you can watch these things as many times as you want, whenever you want. So let's see here. Another announcement that I'm going to keep pinned here all semester long will be the Google Drive link. This is where you are. This link is where you're going to submit all of your work to me. Everything you do this semester will be done digitally. You'll be able to turn it in directly to that Google Drive link. Let's see, grading guidelines. There's a lot of words here. I can summarize this for you guys pretty easily. This, in fact, this as well as the course culture. So a few of you have had me for other classes. You're familiar with this stuff. Bear with me as I go through this stuff to the other folks here. But I always want to talk about my expectations or my grading guidelines. It's obviously grades are probably the most important thing to you guys in this class. So let's kind of set that expectation right off the bat here. I think I can probably make this bigger also, so you guys can probably read that a little bit easier. There we go. Cool. I'm going to read the C assignment to you guys, and then I will, I'll kind of paraphrase the rest just so that, you know, you're not listening to me read on and on here on the very first day. But the C assignment, you'll find yourself earning a C grade if you attended and participated in all the scheduled classes during the project, pursued the process and made a strong effort to learn the required material. There was potentially enough development in your project in technique and skill to produce an assignment of average quality. The student has participated in class activities, discussions, and critiques, and the student has turned in the project on time as designated by the instructor. And all of the assignment parameters have been met. If the project is late, it cannot possibly earn a C. And the C is average. So I guess let me kind of talk about that a bit. My guarantee to all of my classes is that if you do the minimum project requirements and that project is turned in on time, you will at a minimum pass that project with a C, okay? But it's important to understand that doing the minimum does not by any means guarantee you an exceptional grade of an A or a B, but it does guarantee you will pass the project by all means. So hang on, I've got a few folks I need to let in the room here. There we go. There we go. All right. Let me kind of paraphrase the rest just again, so I'm not necessarily reading to you guys so much on day one here, but, and you're welcome to obviously read this stuff verbatim, but a D assignment essentially is, you're going to find yourself earning a D on an assignment if the project is turned in on time, but you just haven't met the minimum requirements. So let's just say hypothetically, I give you a project, there are 4 minimum requirements, and maybe you get 2 or 3 of them done. Again, not all 4. That's when you're going to find yourself earning a below average grade. There are instances though where maybe all of the project parameters have been met, but they were just met poorly. You know, maybe it was just a poorly executed project. That might be an instance also when you find yourself earning a D. And enough really boils down to just not getting the project in on time, or just like miserably missing all of the assignment parameters type of a thing, okay? But really more up than that, students that earn Fs in my classes really just are not turning in the work on time. That's really what it boils down to. An A or a B, let's talk about these. I guess I'll read the A view. This one is pretty easy to follow. So for an A assignment, the student has understood and followed through on suggestions, progressively learning the concepts, terms, and techniques, which led to an excellent individually developed concept. Technically, the assignment was perfectly executed. The student actively participated in class activities, discussions, and critiques, and the student has crafted a project that meets the quality of portfolio-ready work. All of the assignment parameters have been met, and if the project is late, the student cannot possibly earn an A. The grade of A is excellent. And a B is, you know, somewhere obviously in between an A and a C. So it is a good project. You've gone above and beyond but potentially there's some room for improvement before that project gets added to your portfolio. In this class, guys, there will be a number of sort of small micro coding assignments, as well as 2 major projects that you'll be working on that if you approach them the right way, you should end up getting 2 websites out of this class to put into your portfolio. Those projects will be critiqued thoroughly, both in terms of design concepts as well as when you're actually coding the sites. There is more than ample opportunity to make improvements on those sites along the way. And if you take the suggestions that I give you over the course of the semester, as well as the suggestions you get from your peers, you should have no problem earning it at an A grade on those if you put the work in. Okay. Just real quick, let's read through the my expectations. I always do a post like this in all of my classes, just so you can kind of understand like where I'm coming from in terms of the things that I'll expect from you guys. So in terms of if you want to succeed in my classes, first and foremost, meet deadlines. It sounds simple, it should. I know it says here, I will not always remind you of deadlines. I will. You will always know when deadlines are coming up. You can obviously consult the class schedule, but I will always be posting announcements. I will always be verbally telling you when things are due. And if you're just not sure, as it says here, just ask. Reach out via email. I'm happy to clarify for you guys. Contribute positively to class discussions. And that means more than just like shallow praise. Constructive criticism is absolutely encouraged in the class. Respectful criticism. I mean, it's okay to tell somebody that you feel like something could be done differently or improved upon. And I would love that feedback. I will always do that with you guys as well. If I feel like something can be improved, I will tell you. With that, take criticism, separate yourself from the work, be passionate about doing your work, but do not let the thing become too precious. Something that I say a lot to my classes is, this sounds harsh, it's tongue in cheek. I mean, be willing to kill your babies sometimes. We invest a lot of time in our work, right? And sometimes the thing becomes too precious. It's like, oh my God, I spent all this time making this thing. It's kind of like my baby. Then somebody is like, that baby's no good. You got to start over with this baby. That baby must be killed. Sometimes that's the case, and sometimes that is for the better. It's rare that I will actually seriously look at you and be like, start from scratch. This is no good. I mean, there's a lot of steps in the process that we will follow that will ensure that doesn't happen. But ultimately, sometimes just folks when their work gets criticized, they take it personally. It's not that I'm criticizing you as a person, I'm criticizing your work. And as somebody who's been doing, as an educator for 22 years and a professional of 27 years in web design, I will always, if I'm giving you a suggestion on why I think something could be better, I will always give you a reason. You will not just hear me be like, that's no good, start over, okay? Be proactive. Ask me for feedback on works in progress. Bring me research, sketches, concepts, all those things. Please do not expect feedback, though, only on ideas that exist in your head. One of the things you will hear me say many times this semester is that I'm a very visual person. I can give you feedback on things that I see, but I can't see in your head, okay? So if you want feedback on things, which I do encourage, show me things, okay? Also, show, don't tell. Avoid lengthy excuses about why something is late or not as good as it could be. We've all seen those students in classes where we're getting ready to start a critique, and immediately before we even see the work, there are a number of excuses on why the work is not as good as it potentially could be, okay? Avoid doing that. Demonstrate to me that you're committed to the class and your studies by exhibiting professionalism, teamwork, and a passion for your craft. All right, a few more, guys. Ask questions. I will always give you guys resources to do research first, but in a class like this, and really any beginning class that you might have with me, don't be afraid to ask questions. Sometimes as somebody who's new to a particular subject, you want to do the research, but you don't know what it's called. You want to do something, but you don't know what to look up. So whenever possible, ask a question, because I might be able to just immediately point you to a resource, or just show you really quickly how to accomplish the thing that you're trying to do. And save you, minutes, if not hours or evenings of your life of research. Okay. Follow directions. Specific projects have specific requirements. Following them should be the easy part. You know, we talked about the grading guidelines earlier. Getting at minimum of a C should be easy because I'm going to be telling you at the minimum what I'm looking for you to do. Following those bare bone minimum things and getting them in on time, like I talked about, is going to guarantee you pass this class. Again, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get an A or a B. That's where this next point comes in. Go beyond. Simply following a project's requirements is not exceptional, nor should it earn an exceptional grade. Show passion, creativity, and mindfulness and planning in your work to achieve those exceptional grades. Second to last here, make mistakes. Start early. Learn from your mistakes. Try again, repeat. Iteration is key to executing great ideas. Your final project should not look like your first attempts. And it's okay to make mistakes, guys. For many of you, you're learning web design in this class for the first time. You're going to make mistakes. I made lots of mistakes in my first web class. I've been doing this a long time. I still make mistakes. It's a part of learning. We tend to learn best from our mistakes. It's not a big deal to make mistakes, especially if you're a student here. I'd much rather you guys make the mistakes in school than, you know, in the industry, working with a client. And then, you know, in theory, there's always something you can be working on. In theory, well, there are, that's sort of a loaded statement, I think, for a class like this. But all right, cool. We made it through the announcements for and then the basic shell here of the homepage. Some other things I want to talk about real quick, just kind of prep you for the semester. I'm going over to the top here to the content area. Realistically, guys, in this class, it's that content link that's going to be where most of your stuff is. Excuse me. There are no discussions in this class. I don't post assignments here. I do them in the content area. There are no quizzes in this class either. You will find yourself probably using the grade area, but really between content and grades, that's where you're going to find all the stuff for this class. So under content, I've been teaching basic HTML classes for a long time. I've got this class already fully populated. Not that you need to go ahead by any means. In fact, I would not recommend that you go ahead. I would really kind of recommend you follow things on a week-by-week basis, but it's all in here already. Okay. I'm going to talk about week one a little bit here. This is what each week will sort of look like. I will post an initial outline of what we'll be doing on a week-by-week basis, so you have an idea. And then under that will be any resources like links or assignments that you will need for a given week. There are two in here right now. We'll talk about them. They're very, very straightforward. And that will be what will happen here on a week-by-week basis. The first two assignments that you're getting from me today are very basic. They can be completed in just a few steps. Most of the bigger projects, though, that we'll work on will be a continuation week after week after week. I have, for those types of assignments, extremely thorough multi-page assignment sheets that, leave no stone unturned. But that's what the weeks will potentially look like here. So this week, we're doing our course orientation. We have to actually do the syllabus here as well. We're going to be doing an intro to HTML this week. That will begin next class. I will set us up for that here with a small assignment in just a moment. And we'll do some basic introductions. Normally in a class like this, if we were meeting on campus twice a week, I would likely go around the entire room and have you guys all introduce yourself. We only meet once a week, and it's only for an hour and 45 minutes. So a full class of introductions is unlikely for something like a class in this sort of format. We'll be talking today about Visual Studio Code and extensions, and I will be giving you a small amount of homework. We'll talk about that in a moment that relates to VS Code, as well as we're going to begin writing a very brief, like half to full page research paper that I will explain. You're sitting there going, oh my God, like day one, this dude is giving me a research paper. It's okay. Trust me. It's actually fun. I promise you. All right. Let's see. Let's bang up the syllabus real quick as well. And that will be like the last bit of reading that I have to do with you guys. I say this to all my classes on day one, and you guys will be no different. This is by far the most reading I will do to you all semester. So if we get through these next like 10 minutes, it's all downhill from here, at least from a reading standpoint. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I will put us all to sleep if I read you an 11-page syllabus, but I'm going to kind of point out the finer points that are useful to you guys, like right off the bat. Again, my email address is right up top here on the syllabi. Please use that as I talked about earlier. If you have any questions, oh, hang on, I've got somebody waiting to get let in the room here. Okay. Yeah, again, use that email address for all of the reasons that I talked about earlier. Let's see, those hours are not correct at all. I will update that for you guys. Yeah, as it says on the homepage, we just meet Wednesday from 1 to 2:45. But in terms of the rest of the syllabus, I promise you, there's good stuff in there. Okay, course requirements. There are no textbooks for this class. A few semesters ago, I started teaching all of my web-based classes without textbooks. There are a number of amazing free resources out there that I will have you guys use instead. Now, that's going to mean from time to time, I'm going to assign a tutorial or two for you guys to complete. But more often than not, I'm going to conduct the tutorials and the demos directly in class. This is a really demo-intense class. Okay? Every single class beyond today, I will be in Visual Studio Code, creating code along with you guys at the same time. We're going to be making a lot of stuff this semester. Okay? It's a very hands-on class. Again, those will all be recorded. But sometimes beyond that, I will assign you guys tutorials to do in place of the book. But I will always, for everything, give you lots and lots of resources to kind of back up things. The only thing really I'm going to need you guys to have for this class that you may or may not have to purchase, you may already have this. The only other really required materials is that I'm going to require you each to have 2 forms of file storage backup. One can be cloud-based, and I have no preference. It can be, Google Drive, Dropbox, or whatever you crazy kids are using these days. Or in addition, would like you to have some a physical form of backup as well. So it could be a thumb drive, could be an external hard drive, something that is a physical form as well as cloud-based. And I will insist on you having 2 forms of backup. Losing data in this class is not an excuse for not having something to turn in. If you come to me and you're like, Pete, my computer took a crap, I lost my files. My first question to you is going to be, okay, that stinks, but where's your backup? Okay? So please make sure that you guys back everything up. We have a pretty straightforward course description and course outcomes. So in this basic web design course, we'll introduce concepts and techniques related to designing, creating, and deploying content on the internet. Students will learn how to use HTML to structure content and how to use CSS to style that content. And if you've worked with the web before, you know what that means. But if you have not, my promise to you is that although this is a class that we code a lot in, I will very much treat this as a design course. We will be making things that look good. It's a radical departure from like the days when I learned how to code for the web, where we did a bunch of HTML for half a semester and we made stuff that didn't really look like anything. And then we spent the other half of the semester like learning how to use CSS. I will teach you the 2 at the same time, okay? Because we will use them at the same time. And I promise you guys that, there would be very much a seamless integration of those 2 technologies together. But this course will introduce information architecture, wireframing, schematic markup. This course will work on securing a ISP, creating and using a blog, organizing directories on a server, creating web pages with functional navigation and hyperlinks. Students will also be introduced to web design topics such as accessibility, user experience, responsive design, and in lieu of textbooks, students will be required to. Now, I know that the course outcome here says instead of a textbook, you're going to be buying a URL. That's not going to be the case. I'm not going to buy that. Again, there are free resources for that. Okay. The learning outcomes are really straightforward. It's to explain the fundamentals of how the internet works, organize web page structure and post-assigned content, create hierarchical outline for any given contextual document. It's a very fancy way of saying we'll be creating flowcharts. We'll format graphics properly and use them on the web. We'll create schematic HTML markup for content, create styling for content with CSS, and then finally we'll create a website It orients itself responsibly on multiple device formats. So those are the things that we'll be doing over the course of this semester. The majority of the rest of the syllabus very much looks like the other syllabuses you had for all of your other classes here at ACC, but I'll just kind of point out a few small things. Grading policy is pretty straightforward. I'm going to obviously expect you guys to complete your assignments, actively participate in our discussions. You guys should all plan to spend 6 to 10 hours per week working on this course outside of our course. The time commitment, though, will honestly vary from week to week. I will never expect you to work more than 10 hours per week. But there will certainly be some weeks where you will not have to put in that amount of time, this week being certainly one of them. And participants are required to log into the course minimum of 3 times each week. I actually don't have that expectation for you. We meet once a week. I will expect you to log in once a week. If you missed that class, I will expect you at the very minimum to log into the class so that you can, find the link to watch the video. But we've got a pretty straightforward summary also of the class here. There's a total of 250 points you'll earn over the course of the semester. We're working on 2 websites primarily over the course of the semester. There will be 2 very small coding assignments to prep us for that. There are also 2 small research projects. Because of this, it's important, guys, that you get in your work, because with only earning 250 total points, even just losing 20 points if you were to not turn in a research project, for example, that comes close to 10% of your final grade. So just be conscious of that if you want to do well in this class from a grade standpoint. It's really mandatory that you get all these things submitted to me. All right, last thing I will read to you, I promise. My late work policy. I'd like you guys to understand this as well. All assignments are expected to be submitted by the due date. If you're unable to meet a due date, contact me and we'll figure something out, okay? Don't worry about makeup tests or exams. As I mentioned to you, there are no tests or exams. But ultimately, late work and absenteeism and tardiness during due dates and critiques will not be tolerated. Projects and assignments submitted after the beginning of class on a due date will be considered late. So even if you get it into me on the day that it's due, but not before class starts, you need to understand that project is late. We begin class at 1 o'clock. You turn something into me at 1:30, it is late, okay? So be aware of that. If for some reason you can't make it to class one day, but you do submit your work to the Google Drive before class starts, even though you're not here, that project is in on time. You're good, okay? Projects and assignments received later than 1 week after the due date will be counted as a 0. I am always willing to work with you if you need extra time on a project. You have to understand this, though, guys. If you tell me before a project is due that you need extra time, we will figure out an alternate due date for you, you and I together. If you email me, in fact, and you're like, Pete, I need extra time on this, I'm going to respond by saying to you, okay, what do you feel is a reasonable amount of time? And you can tell me, okay? I really don't need to know what the reason is. We're all adults. I don't need to pry into your personal life. If you need extra time, just ask for it. But again, I'm not willing to give you that extra time if you come to me on the day that a project's due, like when class starts. Okay, so just make sure that you reach out to me before that. If you know that you're going to be absent, again, just email me, let me know. We can make arrangements for alternate due dates, or I can always kind of walk you through what might be due on a specific date. Resubmissions and extra credit are not permitted. Okay, understand that, please. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. Seriously. I might have to start us another meeting if it happens to drop us. That's not cool, because we are definitely not going to be done in 10 minutes. If that happens, guys, bear with me. I will quit this meeting and we will start up another one, and I'll re-record that as well. I'll make sure though that this does not happen in future weeks. I'm not actually using my ECC account for this right now. That's what might be the issue. I'm using my personal one. All right, so that's actually it for the syllabus. Again, there are a number of things in here that you'll see in other ECC syllabi. So if you've been here for other classes, you've probably seen this. Yeah, let's see here. Cool. So otherwise, I would love to dig into our 2 assignments for the week. Okay, and I will do that by showing you guys these 2 assignment sheets. I'm going to start with the quick and easy one. Assignment 1. Your first assignment is to download and install Visual Studio Code as well as the Open in Browser extension. Visual Studio Code is free. Does not cost anything to download. You can find it right here, and you'll want to have that downloaded and installed on your computers for next week. It's the program I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be expecting you guys to be doing the same along with me. We're going to be doing live demos, so you're going to be coding along with me. The Open in Browser extension can be found with these links here. So it's a really wonderful free extension, and it allows us, you'll see this next week, it allows us to very quickly and easily test out our code in a browser. So just to kind of show you guys real quick, if I click on the Visual Studio link here, you can download it for free. I'm on a Mac right now, so it's showing me the Mac download. It is a very light, easy program to install. There are also lots of free extensions that sort of add on to the application. I'm giving you guys the link here, first of all, to the entire extension marketplace. Many of them are free, some of them you buy. The specific one I'm asking you guys to get, though, is called Open in Browser. It is free. It's very easy to install, and I will show you how to use it next class. But literally, you just click install. You want to do this after, though, after you have installed Visual Studio Code on your computer. Okay? Don't do this first. It won't know what to install to. Okay? That's your first bit of homework. It will probably take you all of about 2-3 minutes to make that happen. Okay, very easy, but again, you'll want to have that in place for next week. The other bit of homework is right here, and that is to do an analysis of a website. And this is sort of an extension of a little thing that I want to do with you guys. I do this in a lot of my classes. I think it's really important on day one to talk about the importance of purpose and audience in design. So some of you from my Monday, Wednesday class went through a purpose and audience discussion just the other day. I will, this will be a discussion primarily focused towards websites, okay? But ultimately, what I'm looking for you to do with this bit of homework after we do a quick analysis of a website together, here is the paper or the spec sheet. I've got 4 questions here that you're going to use to evaluate a website or any website of your choice. You can use to form a overview of purpose and audience and the success of that site. Now, I'm going to recommend that you steer away from sites you normally use. I'm going to give you some resources in the bottom here, a website called the FWA or the awards.com. Both of these are aggregates that have thousands of really killer websites. I'm going to recommend you go to one of those websites to find a site to review for your paper here. But basically, you're going to answer these 4 questions. Just type it up in a Word document. You can bullet point these. Looks like actually it's 5 questions. It looks like the one got doubled up there. But you're going to, after visiting a site, you're going to, first of all, define what you feel like the purpose of the site is, as well as what might the secondary purposes or goals of the site actually be. You'll then define the audience. So identify the users of the website, what people use the site, what are their skill level, and what are they trying to accomplish when they go to this website. Next, define the user goals. What are the users trying to accomplish? Are those goals easy to accomplish, or are there things that can be improved to help people achieve their goals? Next, evaluate the information architecture, meaning how is the site organized? Do we start with a home page? Do we go to other pages from there? What are those pages? Is the information easy to find? Is there help documentation? Is the navigation smooth or difficult to use? And then we've also got interactivity. Is the system responsive? Meaning, does it give you feedback? For a good example of feedback would be We've all seen websites with like little growing thermometers that are like a load bar. That's what's called feedback from the system, meaning it's telling you that it's doing something. Without that little growing thermometer or spinning wheel or whatever, we might not know that something's happening and we might think the website's broken. Another good example of feedback from the system would be a cursor rollover. So like when my cursor rolls over the button on the bottom of my page down here, you can see it turns into the little kind of like, cursor finger. That's another way that the site or system is giving you feedback to let you know that something is happening here. Is that feedback clear and understandable, or is it confusing? And you may have suggested improvements. But again, you're going to visit any site you want from either of these two sites and analyze it based on these things. Just answer your questions in bullet point format. It does not need to be a lengthy paper. You can most students will do this in about a half page to full page. I know I kind of ran through that quickly, but I'm a little bit nervous about Zoom telling me that it's going to end our meeting. Let's see here. We'll walk through an example of that. I don't know if that's going to happen before this meeting ends. Yeah, it looks like we've got a 3 minutes and 3 seconds before this is before this meeting ends. We're going to do one of two things with that, guys. I'm going to attempt in 3 minutes when this meeting is over to launch another one just using that same link. Having never had to do this before, I don't know if Zoom is going to be like, slow down, pal, you already used your 30 minutes or whatever it is, hour, I think is what it is. If that's the case, I will do a screen recording. I will post that inside of our class where you can watch me do the analysis. Okay, that'll be our backup plan. That will it'll take me, probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes to make that happen, but look for that link. If it does let us all back in, cool. I'll see y'all back here in a few minutes when that is done. But that's our, I guess, that's our backup. Okay. So again, just in case, again, you've got two things you need to make happen for next week. Assignment 1, download Visual Studio Code. Assignment 2, which is actually our first research paper, is to download that PDF and complete those questions. You'll submit that paper to the Google Drive. The link is right here. If I click on that, you'll see it'll take me to our class folder, Google Drive. It will go in the research paper 1 folder right there. I also put a copy of the PDF in there as well for you guys in case you want that. Or there's a Word doc here that you can download that has those questions and you can just like type right into it if you prefer. It might make it a little easier for you guys as well. Okay. All right. I tell you what, guys, I know we've got less than a minute left, so I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to attempt to start up another meeting. We're just going to all use that same link. Okay. So hopefully I see you guys all back here in a few seconds. Otherwise, please come back to the class in about a half hour and look for the link. I'll make a screen recording for us where I take you through that analysis in terms of looking at a site from a standpoint of being good or bad and purpose and audience. Okay. But yeah, hopefully I see you guys back here in just a few moments. Okay. All right.